So that's pee pee face, and pee pee face makes big poopies. And the truth is that all of our fish do it, so we got to clean it up. So we're going to check out the 5-in-1 Aquarium Gravel Vac from Hygger and try in all different types of tanks. Big ones, small ones, and I'm going to show you what equipment I use in each one of the tanks as I did it. So let's just jump right in, and we're going to check out the first tank, which is my 29-gallon bow front tank. And this one has a lot of, let's just say, waste in it. And the gravel in here is the only one that I have gravel actually in the tank. And as you see, it does a really good job cleaning it and has no problem pulling that muck up out of the gravel, and does a few clicks and it's clean water. So you move on to the next spot. But that is all my plant food. And as you see, there's a lot of plants in here, and that's what they're feeding on. So I use it to clean the surface, and I'm using the gravel vac, and I'll use the hose and the hose attachment and pump it out into a barrel here and just change the water in this tank after I've kind of cleaned it. And yeah, I'm going to hit it a few more times while I'm finishing up here, just because it is kind of satisfying. But I don't really do a whole lot of gravel vacuuming. This is my only tank with gravel. So now I'm going to throw my placemat in there to pour on, and I'm going to put this attachment on here. And what this does is it pulls from the bottom of your bucket or your barrel, and it'll keep it in place so it doesn't tip over. Especially a short bucket and you yanked it, you could knock the pump right out. So now I'm going to pump it right back into the tank, and even though the flow rate isn't really that fast, it isn't that slow, and really filled the tank in a decent amount of time. And turned it off, and I turn it back on, I fill my filter, and I'm ready to go. That's a water change done in under 10 minutes. The next tank we're going to check out is a 29-gallon, my Pea Puffer tank, which is like a 20 long, just a taller version of it. It's a very narrow tank, only 12 inches deep. So I'm going to try and do the glass bottom cleaner. It almost looks like a scraper with a return flow filter, and try and see how this works. And in a tight tank like this, I was looking at it saying maybe this could be good to get in some tight spots, but that return flow in a planted tank like this with anything, I have floating plants, there's duckweed in this tank, that could be kind of tough, and it's actually blowing the detritus on the surface up into the water column, not even giving it a chance to suck it up. And as you see, it is pretty forceful. But let me see if I can get this to work better with a mat on top, and then drop that in there. But I see a problem with the mat is the reduced light, but there's a good amount of flow coming out of that filter, so it is pretty strong. And really, like I said, how is this getting into that front corner? It doesn't really work very well as a glass scraper or anything like that, but probably would help you knock off anything that was stuck on a plant or get underneath a rock, which would be nice. So at this point, I think I'm going to try and do the gravel vac, because there's not really a big bioload. You're talking, you know, a few pea puffers in here and a few autosynclists. Up, spilled it. Now the floor is wet. So I'm going to change this over to the gravel vac, and we're going to see how we can set this up. And that pre-filter is really nice. And as you saw there, it can come in a couple different heights, which is really great. So when I tried to do this here, I noticed almost immediately that it was putting a lot of fines right back into the water column. Now that could be nutrients, and the plant, this tank is, you know, almost 2 years old, so that's just some buildup that's in the soil, but it's not really an issue. But it being in the water column is, so I'm not really happy with that. So maybe we say that no gravel vacuum returning water. If you're going to gravel vac, just pump it out into a container. I've been using it in the other tanks, and one thing I got to say is it is kind of bulky. This is a 40 breeder. You know, I don't have big tanks, and you know, if you had a big open tank, it definitely would give you a lot more room to move around in. But in here, you're not really going to have the room for this. So it's nice. It has a switch right here, and it's heavy enough where I can put it down. Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. Uprooting my stuff. But do something like this. You know, blow up the surface and suck that up, you know, while you're doing it. Just moving this around the tank, kind of stirring up. And once again, I'm going to use this attachment, hold it down on the bottom of my bucket, and I'm just going to pump this right back into this tank. And this little trick with a mat here is really a game changer for me. It allows me to pump into the tank even at much faster rates and not disturb anything. So today I'm over at Uncle Joe's Fish Shed, Jody Reed's place, a friend of mine. And I really thought that this would be a great tank to showcase this product on, because as you see in my tanks, this is a little bit tough with a heavily densely planted tank. So if you have a tank like this that's a little bit bigger, some more space around it, and maybe some guys that really are some pretty heavy hitters, this is probably a nice thing for you. We're going to try it with the returning the water back to the tank and see if we can clean up some of the mess that PP Face and the Vaacuum over here have made. What I've got is I've got the return water kit, which has the 2 filters in it, and one's very fine, one's a little coarse. And of course, down in the vacuum side of it, we got a protective filter over here to protect the pump from any big debris. So even though he's got a lot of big fish in here, there are still some small fish in here. And that's a big thing that I like about this, is that with the protective guard in there, I don't really have to worry too much. If a fish gets caught up in there, I just got to turn it off and I'll be ready to go. So as you see, you know, pumps a good amount of water and really taking up a good amount. Nice part about this is that you can clean up a lot of the loose debris that may be around in the tank, but not having to actually drain it down and do a water change. And that's a major advantage for a lot of people. What I like to do is I like to pull it up into it, let it suck it up, and then shut it off. And really just take up the heavies in there. You don't really want to let it run continuously, especially if you are gravel vacuuming and returning the water to the tank is one thing, but if you were gravel vacuuming and taking water out of the tank, you'd want to go a little bit slower and be a little bit more selective. This does come with a sand filter attachment, and we're going to try that right here. And what I do like about it is it's got a little bit of an angle, so if you want to try and get in under a small rock or in a corner, and you can see it pulling right off of the surface and really getting in there and into the cracks. And what I really like about this here is that it's not pulling the substrate up and out. And I don't know if we can really see it. Maybe I'll try and zoom in, but we are pulling up some of the sand and it's getting caught by the fine filter here. So this is a nice little option here, opposed to using the gravel vac where we're pulling up sand and through the filter. So 2 other attachments it comes with is, wow. So 2 other attachments that it comes with is a brush attachment and one that's almost like a scraper attachment. And so I would call this one a hardscape attachment. I think it's going to be really versatile for when you want to clean off, if you have some stuff on your wood, you want to kind of brush off. See, we're getting that nice amount of kick up. Here's the catfish. Kind of get some stuff off of these rocks here. And I think that this is a really nice touch that I can get in there and I can really get off a lot of those things. So I've got to say this. Hygger did send it to me for free to review, and my deal was that it have to be an honest review. And I'm not overly impressed with the gravel vacuuming and returning water, because as you see, even in a fairly new tank like this, it is just pulling it up and putting it back into the water column. The other issue I had with it is the hose that it comes with did start to leak after a little while, and that was really something that wasn't really expecting from a product like this, and after just a few months of use. But like I said, I've used it for months and multiple water changes. My tanks usually get about 1 a week, and as you see, they're really put through the paces. But I really think that's great for cleaning the surface of a big tank like this, and when you want to just maintain, because changing water in something like this can be really, really hard, or you want to do a deep cleaning, you want to get in somewhere, this is definitely a good product. You can get in and get some serious cleaning done and still save a lot of time, because you're not having to change the water. Just getting out that surface waste is really just probably the best thing. But as you see, I think that I was a little misled thinking that the gravel vac water would be clean. It's not going to be. So yeah, but I don't really gravel vac, so it's not really a problem for me. But overall, I think the product could be useful. Depends on your aquarium type. Big aquariums, no brainer. You got to get a pump, but get out of the bucket life. Try and pump in, lift less things, work smarter, not harder. I think this is well worth it. Link in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you like the video. Have a wonderful day.